Anna Bellinghausen and Jacob Padilla alongside here, talking some Nebraska volleyball. We're through non-conference play. Jacob, I want to go back to the Creighton 5-set thriller that we saw in Omaha. Biggest takeaways from that matchup last week?
Yeah, with the fourth time in the last 5 years or something like that, these two have gone five. I'm not sure that people expected that going in, considering the way the two teams had played and where their respective programs were at that point, but credit to Creighton. Seems to be that they are continuing to improve. After that, they went out and swept Kansas to close out their non-conference. So that's a really good win for Nebraska. And in that environment, set another record attendance, the indoor regular season record, packed out CHI. And I think the cool thing was like the growth on the Creighton side too. Like it was still a majority Nebraska, maybe 70-30, 65-35, something like that. But the student section was really raucous. So that was a great environment for Nebraska to play in, to be in that situation. Massive crowd, everybody fired up. You had the dueling chants on the two sides there in the fourth set, I think it was. So just a really impressive showing for Nebraska in that fifth set. And I think that's experience that will serve them well as they move into the Big Ten play for sure.
Yeah, I want to touch a little bit more on just the environment that we witnessed Tuesday. And I think both coaches said it best in the press conference and speaking to the foundation that's been laid before them. Brian Rosen speaking to Coach Booth and everything that she's done. And then, of course, John Cook, and kind of mentioned both of them being the reason why this rivalry has grown so much year after year. And it is cool to see how many more Creighton fans show up and just that. It makes volleyball in the state better, right? Creighton's been good, but it helps so much more having that fan base, and especially seeing those fans show out. And they got their money's worth on Tuesday night as well. It was an incredible match, and I think what separated Nebraska was just their ability to close it out at the end. And I think that turning point was Olivia Mauk's save. Was it 11-8 at that point? It could have went either way up until then.
Yeah, I think 10-8 shanked pass, and Olivia tracked it down, dove in front of the bench, kept it in play, and Nebraska ended up winning that match winning that point to go up 11-8, and then from there it was they were in firm control. Yep. So it's just little plays like that, and that's what makes this team so special is they just don't let the ball drop on their side of the net. We'll get into kind of where they are at the end of non-conference here in a minute, but that's the single most impressive part about this team right now is just how hard it is to score points against them.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's move on to the Arizona match. A sweep for Nebraska. Andy Jackson mentioned, though, there was a little bit of lack of focus here and there. It was an 8 p.m. first serve, so it was a little tougher environment for them in terms of the timing of everything throughout the day. But, yeah, what did you see from that Arizona match?
Yeah, a little bit of lack of focus there, Andy said, in terms of how tough it was for them to close out the sets. They were up big in each one outside of the second one, but took them 5 tries in the first set on set point to close it out, and then 3 tries in each of the last 2. So that's 8 set points that Arizona saved, which it's not something that Danny Busman Kelly was worried about, really. Is like just it happened in the match or whatever. But I just talked about how hard it was to kill balls against them. Yep. And the Arizona performance was their worst defensive performance of the season. And that's, I mean, you look at who they've played this year, and they gave up 250 hitting, which previously the Creighton match was the highest at 172 or whatever it was. So, and Danny came away with that, as she said, even in the huddles, she got on them more than she has at any point this season, just because the defense, just attention to detail wasn't there. They were a little slow. The kind of the all-out effort wasn't necessarily there on a point-to-point basis. So, I mean, it's a long season, and that's when you're number one, you're undefeated, rolling along there. Some of the complacency will creep in a little bit. And it's nice to have kind of a wake-up call in a match that you still win 3-0. So that's good for them, but definitely something that they're going to focus on in practice this week that Busman Kelly is going to continue to harp on. It's like, hey, that was not up to our standard. Now we're heading into Big Ten play. It's got to be there every single night. Yeah. Okay, so where does this Nebraska team stack up now after we've seen non-conference, just in terms of rankings, where they're at statistically? Yeah, 10-0 through non-conference play, number 1 in the nation. We saw last week that they lost a few first-place votes in the ABCA poll, which I mean, understandable. Texas with their resume. Texas has the best resume in the country. It's just Nebraska is Nebraska, and they've also gone undefeated, and they beat five top 25 teams. And at the time, 3, 6, 7, 18, and 22 were the rankings of the teams they beat in non-conference. So half their non-conference play was against top 25 teams, and they won every single match. So you have to feel good about where they are. They got to incorporate a lot of different players. They experimented a lot of different ways for things that could potentially go to down the line. We saw some of the double sub with Campbell Flynn. Danny Busby-Kelly even talked about using her as a situational serving sub. We saw that. So things they can go to. So we saw Manaya Obeche, if whether injury or rest, they can go to that bench and bring in a third middle, and she has definitely performed every chance she's got. We saw kind of the way it looks with both libero. We saw different options where Skylar Pierce involved. So I think we'll talk to Danny Busby-Kelly this week about just kind of where the program is coming out of non-conference, heading into Big Ten play. But I think she has to be happy with all the things they've been able to work through while still coming out at number 1, 10-0, unbeaten. But there are definitely some areas for improvement if you kind of look at their statistical profile.
Yeah, what would you say are those biggest areas?
I think number 1 is passing. They've just been inconsistent with that, and we did see Olivia Mauk has started the last 3 matches at libero, and that's a change. We saw make that change in the Grand Canyon match when she made the wholesale line changes just to get some of the reserves out playing time. So you wondered, like, is that just like, okay, we're giving her a chance here? But she started the Creighton match, and she started the Arizona match as well. So that maybe, and Danny said it's going to probably go back and forth. Both will have chances down the line, but I think that's probably part of what led to that is I think Olivia's just a little bit more stable in serve receive. Column teams have targeted Lainey Choboy. It's an area she's improved in, especially throughout last year. I don't think she's been playing her best in that area so far this season. She definitely can get back to that, but right now teams are really going at her in serve receive. So we saw that change. They are 11th among Big Ten teams with a 928 reception percentage right now. So not up to Nebraska standard there. And then the other side of serve and pass, they're last in the Big Ten in aces. They're only averaging 0.89%. And so they've talked about wanting to up that aggressiveness, and we've seen some brief flashes of it. Harper Murray in particular is putting some pressure on. Virginia Adriano in that Creighton match had a great serving match. So we've seen some flashes of it. It just hasn't been consistent, and it's going to be tough. You get into these toughest matches if the other teams are really going for it and you're just a little bit more conservative. That's going to create some problems. Mm-hmm. And then the last one I would say is probably blocking consistency. We've seen some matches where they've been dominant at the net with blocks, and then others where they had 3 blocks, I think, in that Arizona match. The entire set or the entire match just won a set. Again, that's not up to the standard for what they want. They're 12th in the Big Ten at 2.32 blocks per set. And again, the actual points off of these are not necessarily the most accurate stats, but they're the ones that we have. So it's more about being there, getting positive block touches. Same thing with serving. It's not necessarily all just aces, but aggressiveness and keeping teams out of rotation. But again, these are the numbers we have, and they're not probably where you would hope to see them.
I know previously we talked about a second, third hitting option for Nebraska. Would you say Virginia Adriano has slowly kind of climbed up that list? That's
probably the biggest storyline outside of the Mauk at libero. Out of the final stretch of non-conferences. That's 3 straight matches now for Virginia hitting over 300. She had 8 kills on 313 against Grand Canyon, 13 kills on 320 against Creighton, and then 9 kills on 438 against Arizona. So I think that's 4 out of the last 5 as well. Like it seems she's starting to put it together.
She's smiling more too.
Yeah. Her teammates or somebody told her she plays better when she smiles. So making a concentrated effort to show more happiness out there on the court. And definitely seems like she's having fun with the way that she's been playing. So, I mean, if you get that consistently, her killing balls on the right side, in addition to the service pressure she's providing, that's going to be huge for this team and just balancing it out and really making them that much harder to defend.
Absolutely. Okay, well, Michigan is upcoming on Wednesday, and let's preview it courtesy of our friends at Centris Federal Credit Union. Jacob, what are some of the keys or things that you're looking for in this Nebraska versus Michigan matchup?
Yeah, Michigan 10-1 so far in the season, but 0 ranked matches. They went 1-1, played a pair of matches against Virginia, lost a 5-setter, then came back and swept them. So they kind of corrected some things there. Hitting .310, which is better than Nebraska, allowing 190. But again, kind of level of competition are not the same. One thing note, they run a 6-2 with Omaha Skutt graduate Morgan Burke there, splitting time with Ellie White at the setting position. But the key against Michigan is Allison Jacobs, averaging 4.32 kills per set, 256 hitting, 17 aces. She's third in the Big Ten in kills. 5'11" graduate outside hitter there. So she's one of the best players in the Big Ten. So it's a good way to kind of start off facing one of the league's best. But the key is absolutely going to be keeping her in check.
I love it. Okay, well, those are Jacob's keys for Centris. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you guys next time.